How does one man conquer most of the known world before his 33rd birthday? It sounds like a myth. Yet, Alexander the Great did exactly that. He defeated the largest empire on earth. He fought in deserts, mountains, and jungles. He never lost a major battle. Today, we will walk through the step-by-step strategy Alexander used to build his empire. This is the story of the ultimate military machine and the mind that directed it. First, Alexander did not start from nothing. His father, King Philip II, gave him the perfect tool. Philip transformed the Macedonian army into the most advanced fighting force of its time. The key was the sarissa, an 18-foot-long pike. Macedonian soldiers fought in a tight formation called the phalanx. With these long pikes, the phalanx was like a moving fortress of sharp points. It was nearly impossible for enemy infantry to attack. Philip also created the elite companion cavalry, heavily armored horsemen used as a hammer to smash enemy lines. Alexander inherited this army, but he also inherited a united and loyal kingdom. This was his foundation. When Philip was assassinated, Alexander was only 20. He quickly crushed rebellions in Greece to secure his homeland. Then, he turned his eyes east, to the ultimate prize, the Persian Empire. His first major test was the Battle of the Granicus River in 334 BC. This was right after he crossed into Persian territory. Persian cavalry and Greek mercenaries waited on the far bank. The river was steep and muddy. Most generals would avoid a direct attack. Alexander attacked immediately. He led the companion cavalry in a daring charge across the river and up the bank. Then, the phalanx advanced and destroyed the Greek mercenaries. This victory showed Alexander's style of speed, aggression, and leading from the very front. It cleared the way into Asia Minor. The next year, he faced the main Persian army, led by Emperor Darius III himself, at Issus. Darius chose a narrow coastal plain. He had a huge numerical advantage, perhaps 5-1. But the terrain cramped his larger army. Alexander saw the weakness. He noticed the Persian left flank was pinned against the sea. He led a crushing cavalry charge on the right, breaking through. Then, he turned and drove straight for the center where Darius was. This is a key Alexander tactic. Don't just fight the enemy soldiers, target the enemy commanders will to fight. Darius, seeing the fierce Macedonian king charging toward him, panicked. He turned his chariot and fled the battlefield. When the Persian king ran, his entire army collapsed. Alexander captured Darius's family and treasure. The message was clear, the Persian king could be beaten, but the Persian Empire was not finished. To secure his rear, Alexander made a strategic masterstroke. He marched south into Egypt. The Egyptians hated Persian rule. They welcomed Alexander as a liberator. He founded the city of Alexandria, which became a great center of learning and trade. More importantly, he visited the oracle at Suwa. The priests there called him the son of Zeus. Alexander used this for propaganda. It helped his soldiers see him as more than a man, as a figure of destiny. It also gave him a divine claim to rule Egypt and beyond. In 331 BC, the final showdown came at Gaugamela. This was on a wide, flat plain chosen by Darius. It was perfect for the Persian chariots and huge cavalry. Darius outnumbered Alexander's army by at least 5-1 again. The night before the battle, Alexander's general Parmenion suggested a surprise night attack. Alexander refused. He said he would not steal a victory. He wanted a decisive, public win, at dawn. Alexander's army advanced, but instead of walking straight forward, he marched his entire formation diagonally to the right. He was pulling the Persian army out of position. Darius launched his Scythe chariots. But Alexander's men simply opened lanes in their formation, letting the chariots pass through harmlessly. Then, at the perfect moment, Alexander saw a gap in the Persian line. He formed his cavalry and his best infantry into a wedge. He led a direct, violent charge straight at the point where Darius stood. It was a repeat of Issus, but on a grander scale. The Macedonian wedge tore into the Persian center. Once again, Darius saw Alexander coming for him. The battle was a complete victory. Alexander marched to the Persian capitals of Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis. He sat on the throne of the great kings. He was now the master of the Persian Empire. But Alexander was not done. He wanted to go to the very edge of the world. He pushed east into Bactria and Sogdiana. This was grueling guerrilla warfare in harsh mountains. His army grew tired. He faced local rebellion. But he adapted. He married a local princess, Roxana, to build a political alliance. He showed he could rule, not just conquer. His final major battle was at the Hydaspes River in India, against King Porus. Porus had a secret weapon, war elephants. Alexander could not use his standard cavalry charge against them. So, he used deception. He camped opposite Porus for weeks. He made noisy movements at night to make Porus tired and alert. Then, one stormy night, Alexander moved most of his army upriver, crossed, and attacked Porus's flank. The Macedonian infantry used their long sarissas to stab at the elephants' eyes and drivers. The confused and wounded elephants often turned and trampled their own troops. It was another brilliant, adaptive victory. But here, his campaign ended. His army had marched for 8 years. They were thousands of miles from home. They were exhausted. They refused to go further into India. Alexander, the great leader, had to listen to his men. He turned back. This is a key insight. Alexander's success was not just his tactics. It was his leadership. He shared the dangers and hardships of his men. He fought in the front line. He was wounded many times. He knew their names. He also adopted local customs to rule his new subjects. He wore Persian dress sometimes. He included Persian nobles in his army. This made his men angry at times. They wanted to remain superior Macedonians. But Alexander was thinking like an emperor, not just a general. He wanted to merge cultures to create a stable empire. In the end, Alexander's empire was built on 3 pillars. First, the unbeatable military machine his father created. Second, Alexander's own genius for battlefield tactics and psychology. He always aimed to break the enemy commander's spirit. Third, his personal bravery and ambition. He led from the front. He believed in his own destiny. His empire fell apart after his early death in Babylon at age 32, but he changed the world forever. He spread Greek culture, language, and ideas from Egypt to India. This began the Hellenistic Age. So, how did he conquer the known world? With the best army, a brilliant mind, and a will that never, ever accepted limits.